Welcome to Dotegy. In this webinar, I'll be looking at the persona of an account manager. That's someone who directly manages a customer or works in a sales and new business environment. So what can Dotegy do for you? Well, the first benefit to using Dotegy is the portfolio strategy advice it can provide. That's been covered in a previous webinar, Dotegy Portfolio Strategy, which is on the screen now, so if you click there, you can view that separately. Today we're going to look at the Internet Intelligence functions. This is really important if you wish to carry out some risk analysis for a customer or potential customer. Here's a hypothetical example. I'm using Vanessa Bruno, a French fashion designer, probably still at the size where large financial investments in anti-counterfeiting are not important or necessarily justifiable, but also it may be not apparent the extent of the risk or damage they are leaving themselves open to. So let's start with the NGTLD domain alert function. I'm going to concentrate on the brand name as spaces are not allowed in domain name registrations, and we'll see what comes back. You can think of the Internet Intelligence functions as tools to help you find, define, and refine the keywords or search terms that you wish to use on a continual basis. We'll see later, but certain marketplaces do not have listings as you would expect, but change words, use products, or various other keywords like cheap, bags, shoes, moi cher. So we've got two results for Vanessa Bruno, email and Paris. As you can see, because we have not put these domain names into our portfolio, they've been flagged as not ours, which means we should pay some more attention to them. So if we click on the name here, we can get Dotegy to do some more analysis. Okay, so I can see the website resolves, and we have a little screen grab here that shows a blank page. I'm going to try this directly in another browser window just to make sure that it's not a false positive. It is indeed a blank page. If we then focus on the who is information, expand this window, we can see it was registered through GoDaddy. If we scroll down a little bit more, you can see the registrant information is not Vanessa Bruno, the company. Remember, at this point, we're just researching risk for the customer, but we could put the website under surveillance so that if something changes, we'll be notified. Like, for example, if the blank page starts to become a copycat website. Let's go back to our .Paris. Paris and Vanessa Bruno are more closely associated, so this will be more interesting to see the results. Okay, that looks like a one-on-one holding page, and if we focus on the who is information again, we can see that it was registered through one-on-one internet, and the registrant is again not Vanessa Bruno. So that's not good news for the brand, but at least the scope of the damage is two domain names. If we check for DPML, previous who is information, that's an extension of Donuts. We can see that they do not have a DPML in place, which means they also do not have TMCH, maybe perhaps because they cannot register it. So let's move on to marketplaces. We'll use eBay France here as it's probably the most relevant for Vanessa Bruno, the brand, and we'll use the keyword Vanessa Bruno. So here are my results. I'm going to scroll to the bottom to see how many listings we're dealing with. 1,106 entries. So this is quite interesting. Remember, a listing on any marketplace site can be completely legitimate. It's only by investigation and following rules to identify counterfeits can you truly say if a problem exists or not. Here we can see quite a lot of information. I'm going to focus on price. Price ascending. Why? Because often a bargain can indicate a counterfeit. Next, I'm going to look at some of these sellers. I can see on the second page this user Tinatel386, and this piques my interest as they have multiple listings. They say the items are new with tickets and the price is very, very low. So I'm going to click on the link directly to see what this looks like in eBay for a bit more information. If I scroll down, I can see the information in English. Whilst I wouldn't necessarily flag this as a counterfeit item or illegal activity, if I was a brand holder, seeing this person has 5 items for sale, all at very low prices, it's rather suspicious activity and I'd like to know some more. So if I want to, I can download this and put it into Excel, and then I can review it offline how I wish to. Let's move on to another marketplace, and this time Alibaba. We want to repeat the same steps. We're looking for the brand Vanessa Bruno. And here we only have one website to check. The bottom 3 results, much better. We can of course do this search manually to verify what we're seeing is correct, and if I check directly on Alibaba, this seems to be the case. When I say correct, correct in the sense that the results we have on Dotegy are the same as on Alibaba. What we actually have here is rather incorrect in terms of what the sellers are offering. This is certainly not Vanessa Bruno themselves. What can we do about this? Well, Alibaba have a dispute claims process, which is available under their customer service menu if someone believes they're an IPR infringement or suspicious behavior. Let's go back and check another marketplace. This time we'll look at iOffer. Again, it's the same search. We're looking for Vanessa Bruno. These are our keywords we're choosing to use. In here we have one item, much better again. If we click on this item, the seller seems to suggest that they can offer wholesale items. This is very dubious, and again it's doubtful this is the brand owner. Let's go back and now check on PaiPai. Here again we're going to use the keywords Vanessa Bruno. We could just as easily have added a product name as well, or cheap, moins cher, or something in local language as we said before. But here we're just going to stick with the same search results. Okay, we've got no results, but here there's a slight disclaimer. PaiPai is somewhat unreliable, but we can manually check whether this is actually the case. If we did the search manually, there's no results for Vanessa Bruno. Finally, Le Bon Coin. I'd expect a very similar result to eBay here, specifically a French brand on a French marketplace. So we'll narrow the results slightly, hopefully, by changing the keywords to be not just the brand, but a product as well. $209 results for this particular search, not too bad. And just like eBay, it helps to try and focus on the price, if one has been listed with the article, or the nature of the listing. You'll also notice a lot more false positives due to people listing with keywords for a brand, like Vanessa Bruno or Christian Dior, even if the product they're advertising isn't that brand. This is a typical tactic to increase traffic to your listing as similar to. So I've covered all the marketplaces. At this point, having identified the simple keywords Vanessa Bruno, and on certain marketplaces maybe some products. It is pretty effective without necessarily having to add other things like bags, cheap, moins cher. And I should create this keyword group and then I can use it later on if I wish to add any daily automated checks. So on to social media. What's happening there? With Facebook. And here we're going to use the same keywords we've been using throughout, Vanessa Bruno. Let's see what we get returned. In some cases we can see that we're getting results just containing the keywords, maybe not of relevance. But if we go a couple down, we can see that's the location of the Vanessa Bruno boutique in Paris. Sometimes it's more interesting to order by username, so we'll take a look that way. And immediately at the top here we can see Vanessa Bruno pas cher. Pas cher in French means less expensive or cheap. So let's have a look at that. Let's open up the direct link in Facebook. And it's a live site. It's been posting as recently as the 2nd of September. And it looks like it's offering items which appear not to be authorized. Both the price and the quality of the items are suspicious. And so I'd classify this as suspicious. If we go back to our results, we'll see the next one down is Vanessa Bruno Paris. Let's have a look at that one. This one has over 92,000 followers. Official picture of the designer. It looks official. And so on and so on. Now let's check Twitter. Again, we're going to use our simple keywords, which are in fact the brand name. And see what results we get back. Twitter is a very different animal because we're talking about very live data. It's so live, in fact, that Twitter itself discounts tweets after a certain amount of time. If it believes they no longer have relevance, or they are not trending. Anyway, let's see what results we get. I'm going to sort by user again here. See if there's something close to V for Vanessa Bruno. What's interesting here are these two links, this user. Again, if I click on the link, I can open this up directly in Twitter. And what I need here is a bit of a translation as it looks a little bit suspicious. Just popping that into something like Google Translate, it shows me that they're actually offering products from Vanessa Bruno, something they're probably not allowed to do. So again, the simple keywords appear to be working, and if I wanted to, I could add a daily check for Twitter onto my account. These overnight services only flag the additions and not the repeated items, listings or tweets that can be found. They also flag the date they're no longer found. This indicates if something has been removed, closed down, or no longer appear on a search to anyone doing this manually on the website. Go quickly into mobile apps, but I expect to find little here. Again, we're going to use our basic keyword search, which is Vanessa Bruno. And we've got one result on iTunes. Let's check what it is by clicking on it. And it looks like some sort of shopping app, but it's not clear. We might need to test download it just to be sure of the threat. Let's have a look on Android. Here's our results. If we scroll to the bottom, we can see in total we only have 8 entries, but the Centre Neuf program has appeared again, so it's available on both platforms to consumers. We also appear to have a lot of non-related items returned by the App Store because of the keywords we're using, but there's also this program here, LF, which I'm going to click on. Closer inspection again seems to show that it's another kind of shopping app, and it references several brands. If we click on the read more here, we can see La Fuma is mentioned, as well as Vanessa Bruno there. So an interesting one, again, a bit suspicious. The Google search. Here we might choose to refine our keywords. Pas cher, for example, would be a good example in the French market on French Google. But let's just start with Vanessa Bruno, I've been using all the way through this webinar. But we will pick French Google. See what results we get. Well, the first page looks quite interesting. A lot of advertisement for Vanessa Bruno, which is great. The vanessabruno.com website itself. But as you can see, Dotegy is also flagged it's not in our portfolio that's been uploaded. So it's just pointing out the fact that it looks like it should be something we're concerned about. Let's move on another page. Farfetch.com. Let's take a quick look at this one. Appears to be legitimate Vanessa Bruno items at Vanessa Bruno prices, so I don't think there's too much to worry about there. Let's go back and check for some others. Shopperlike.fr. Vanessa Bruno items, maybe at prices which are not indicative for Vanessa Bruno, and listed as pas cher, not expensive. Now that's not normal fashion brand marketing, so it's probably worth a closer look, but again, we could ask the brand owner just to confirm. With this information, we could put in place website crawls, page detection, and then potentially take action. But for the purposes of what we've been doing here, this is about research and presentation of information that the client or potential client might want to do something about, and not just as a one-off, but on a regular basis. So Dotegy can be seen as a toolbox of utilities with everything downloadable, so it can be stitched together and presented however you wish to.